called The Old Priest and the Young Rabbi. An elderly priest invited a young rabbi over for dinner. During the meal, the young rabbi couldn't help noticing how attractive and shapely the housekeeper was. Over the course of the evening, he began to wonder if there might be more between the elderly priest and the housekeeper than met the eye. Reading the young rabbi's thoughts, the elderly priest volunteered, "I know what you must be thinking, but I assure you, my relationship with my housekeeper is purely professional." About a week later, the housekeeper came to the elderly priest and said, "Father, ever since your young rabbi friend came to dinner, I've been unable to find the beautiful sterling silver gravy ladle. You don't suppose he took it, do you?" The priest said, "Well, I doubt it, but I'll write him a letter just to be sure." So he sat down and wrote, "Dear Rabbi, I am not saying that you did take a sterling silver gravy ladle from my house, and I'm not saying you didn't take it. But the fact remains that the one that has been missing ever since you were here." Several days later, the elderly priest received a letter from the young rabbi which read, "Dear Father, I am not saying that you do sleep with your housekeeper, and I'm not saying that you don't sleep with your housekeeper. But the fact remains that if you were sleeping in your own bed, you would have found the gravy ladle by now." I know, isn't that great? No. You don't get that, you can't. That image is now in your mind. I'm sorry. But at least it's better than some other images, right? So it's so great. Well, I'm just going to do a brief talk because I looked in the Science of Mind, and one of my favorite ministers actually wrote them in this Science of Mind magazine back in 2017, Karen Wiley. And she called it "Keep Dancing." And one of the quotes she said is, "We are to believe that God indwells in our life, that this divine presence is sufficient for all needs." So I'm just going to share a little personal story because it's kind of funny. I had, we always have change in our lives, right? Don't you know that? Mm-hmm. Life changes, people leave us and new people come into our lives. And what ended up happening, I had a tenant there for 2.5 years, and I thought, oh Lord, now I got to go find a new tenant. And Art says to me, my beloved here, he says, "Well, you're not going to find somebody like Isabella." And I said, "Well, I've got an image of her that I really like, so you know what, I'm going to hold that image." So I wasn't getting people that were really great, and so I decided I'm going to do, like we do here, I'm going to do an affirmation. And I wrote it out, and I stuck it on my door about, I don't know when I did this one. Probably, I was so frustrated, I did it probably about a week ago, or maybe 10 days ago. So here's what I wrote. "The perfect tenant is renting my guest house who will love it. Thank you." So I'm thanking the universe in advance, right? Because I want to have that attitude of gratitude. So, I end up, and one little gal came in, she was adorable and sweet, but she only wanted to rent for 6 months, and then I get a call, and all of a sudden I start getting these calls, because I kept looking at it, I walk by and look out the door, and okay, yeah, that's true, and I just know it, and every time I went into fear, I had to go into a surrender place. So what happened then is I had a call, and I was going to have this one gal, because I thought, I just want to get somebody in here, and enough already, because I was tired of hearing about it too. So anyway, so I finally, I had a gal, and she was going to come the next day, give me a deposit, but then this other woman calls and says, "Is your guest house still available?" And I thought, I need to show it to her. I think that maybe she may like it, and if she doesn't, oh well, I got the other gal, just in case. So she ends up coming over, and she immediately hands me her financials from her job and verification of her employment. I'm like, what? I go, oh God, you're bringing me the perfect tenant. Anyway, so then it's at night, she's coming after work, and it's dark, and so I start showing her, and she says, this place is fabulous. I've lived 5 years in my last place. And that I am so ready to move. My mom and dad live up here. She's in her 40s. She's my daughter's age. And so, you know, I looked at her, I said, so does that mean you will take it? Yes, I want it. I really want it. I'm on my way to get cookies from my mom. But yes, I want it. And I said, okay, so I'll text you and, you know, I'll send you over the, email you over the application, da-da-da. And so then I was talking to Art and I said, you know, this gal's gonna be a keeper. And she ended up being a younger version of my other tenant, okay? So, you know, we call ourselves the spiritual chick. So anyway, I got another little spiritual girl. So I showed her, so I walk over the door and I go, this is you. She goes, yes, that is me. How'd you do that? And I said, and she goes, I need to do that in my life. I really need to do that. And I said, you know what? You just have to focus on what you want and then be present to it. But again, when we go into fear, worry, and doubt, you got to let that go too, okay? Because we're all going to go through hard times in our lives. I'm sorry, guys, but that's just part of the life plan, all right? Is that we'll have things that come into our life to open us up, to shift us, to make us more aware so that we can grow and be better people. Because if we didn't have something that was a catalyst for our growth, we would never grow. How would you like to just stay in the nice little pond all by yourself and you never get out of that pond? Pretty soon the water's going to dry up. You got to move sometime. So sometimes in our lives, our soul's going to bring us situations and things in order to expand our heart, to have us open more to the givingness and the love of God and the universe, because that's really what it's about. It's about us just having a communion, a connection with Spirit that's so fabulous and intimate, and that when you write out an affirmation, it comes to you within a week, sometimes 5 minutes. So here's kind of a funny thing. I thought, well, you know, I had her come over, I got that, she's all set, I got my girl. And I ended up getting like 2, 3, 4 other phone calls. But I knew she was perfect. So I just said, sorry, it's been rented. So then I thought, my fence blew down. You know, this is all happening at once. My fence blew down in the backyard. I mean, it blew down. It's gone, okay? So I said, well, you know, I need to write another affirmation. I got my rent, all right? I mean, I got my rental. Damn, that's good. But I'm having trouble getting this contractor to call me back, and his name's Mike. And I'm like, come on, God, get Mike to call me and text me and set up a date to build my fence. And so 5 minutes later, I'm driving up here, right? I'm writing this affirmation out while I'm driving. And yeah, I know. I was looking at the road. Anyway, so I'm writing the affirmation out. No kidding, 5 minutes later, I get a text from Mike. Not Mike Wood, Psych Mike, wanting to give me a psychic reading. So I then immediately pulled out my paper, Mike Wood, the fence builder, to call me. So our power has volition, our word. What we have is that we have so much power within us, and it's not like a trip power. It's not like somebody trying to control you. It's about when things like that happen, it's a catalyst to have us open up to who we really are, and to open up to how potent and how amazing you are. You know, remember the old, the viral video, The Secret? It works, okay? So I'd hear people, oh, that's stupid, and I'm like, really? Okay, try doing it, because it works, and it really is that fabulous. So some of the things that psychologists say, if you are going through a tough time, and we said them all this morning, be present to your emotions, cry, because when you cry, the negative chemicals come out of your body. It's really, and when we have things that are challenging, it kind of helps us to dig in and be present to our resiliency, right? Because we don't know how fabulous we are until something hits us and we have to step up and make it happen. And that's really what it's about. So with that, I just wanted to maybe close so we can have some more music, yeah? And I want to close with a quote. Oh, I forgot it. Did you hand me that, my iPad, honey? No, on the floor. The iPad, please. I had some quotes, and there's a great quote that I found on the internet, and it really goes along with this. Because if we want to keep dancing, we're going to have to do whatever it takes in order for us to keep dancing. And I will find this. Okay. So the quote is, and I love this, anything that annoys you is teaching you patience. Woohoo! Anyone who abandons you is teaching you how to stand up on your own 2 feet. And I remember that when a friend of mine and I was going through my first divorce, and he says, I'm going to help you a little bit, and I'll make you stand on your own 2 feet. And I really appreciate him, because from then on I could do it. Anything that angers you is teaching you forgiveness and compassion. Anything that has power over you is teaching you how to take your power back. And I'm going to keep on, but there was one short thing I just wanted to share. There was a gal I went and did a facial on Friday, I guess it was, and she's going on and on about her IT ex who's hacking into everything. And I finally looked at her and I said, you got to take your power back, because you have a choice. You have God and the universe behind you. You go talk to those guys, talk to the IT people at Pasadena City College. Go talk, because she's up in that area. Go talk to the other professors. Go to Caltech. I don't care where you go. But you can take your power back, and you pray to God to help you. You hear me? And she looked at me and she says, oh, thank you so much. Because we can either be a victim or we can be a victor. And we can take our power back, and we can take action and have whatever we desire. Anything you hate, is teaching you unconditional love. That's deep, huh? Anything you fear is teaching you courage to overcome your fear. And anything you can't control is teaching you how to let go. Isn't that beautiful? So with that, I thank you so much for coming. Hopefully you'll have a little wisdom when things come up for you, and you have some insights about how to manage it. And with that, we're going to bring back up Chick Streetman for another solo.